Welcome on back and gather around, gang. It's time for some more Total War Warhammer 3. We are back with some more Tides of Torment early access, this time showing off all of the goodies that the Beastmen are getting access to with this DLC, which truthfully is quite a bit. So, huge thank you to Creative Assembly for providing me here with some early access. That way I can show you all these units in Tides of Torment a bit early. That way you can decide if you want this DLC for yourself. Let's get right into it. So the Beastmen are gaining access to 3 new units total. The Slaangors, which are a dual sword infantry, the Chimera, which is a tier 4 flying monstrosity, and the Preyton, which is also a tier 4 flying monstrosity. And because of that, they're going to get 2 new regiments of renown, to the Bloodshriek Chimera and the Scourge of Arden. So in total, 4 new units for the Beastmen. This is pretty awesome. Well, it would have been great to have another kind of maybe Slaanesh themed Centaurs as well. I understand why that did not happen. We had quite a bit of cool stuff with Slaanesh, and Centaurs aren't really needed since they already have quite a bit of cavalry on their side. So let's take a look here. What makes the Slaangors Slaangors? Some beastmen would live more deliciously than others, driven by a perverse hunger for the excesses of war. What CA says these guys are about is anti-infantry and vanguard deployment, which does make sense. Slaangors are fantastic. Actually, I would consider these my favorite besides the Corn Gores of our marked Gore units. They've got more armor than the Gore herd they are replacing, a little bit less health, but their stats are just basically slightly tweaked. You can see here, it's very slightly. They're much faster than your normal Gore herd. In fact, they have 50 speed, which makes them almost a Warhound unit. This by itself makes them very, very useful. They are so quick. Good melee attack, good melee defense, and then weapon strength giving them a bonus of infantry of 8. They will blend right through infantry in a frontline fight. They just are going to struggle because of their armor. They're going to start taking damage. However, because of what these guys are all about, they have the pleasure through pain ability here, which is going to build up as they take damage. They're going to get even faster, have more charge bonus, and more melee attack. It's basically like these guys are going to have their own built-in frenzy that just makes them faster instead of giving them all the extra damage bonuses. It's more for a higher chance to hit, more speed, and more charge bonus, making them a very mobile and very dangerous core unit, honestly. Primal Fury gives them even more speed, so they're a very, very fast unit getting around. And then Strider means they get to ignore all the different penalties on the map, which for any kind of a unit, doesn't matter if it's infantry, doesn't matter if it's large, being able to ignore the terrain penalties is always a terror for your foes. They've got Woodsman, they've got Norsca Slaanesh, which is just telling us they have immunity to psychology, Strider, physical resistance, or at least extra physical resistance, and more speed. And they get that 5 physical resistance as well, which isn't a ton, but if you can buff it up through other ways, that starts to add up quite quickly. Slaangors, very good at diving into a frontline fight, as opposed to your Gore herd, which you kind of want to send into the flanks. You throw your Slaangors right into a brawl, let them take damage, let them build up that extra bonus attack, and then you just kind of ping-pong them around from there. They are a bowling ball of doom once they get built up. They're not like an absolute world-ending unit, but in the early to mid-game, these things are monstrosities. Up next, hailing from our Sile the Faithless DLC, we have the Chimera, the living emanation of Chaos's twisting, ravening power. The Chimera's tri-throated war challenges only the most foolhardy sorcerer to try to bind it to their will. You got a combination of Murder Parrot, Pokemon, and this weird bat hog thing, and then they got a snake tail, so they've got all sorts of ways to deal death. And they're very, very good at it. They've got high armor, decent leadership, good speed, a trio of flaming attacks, magical attacks, and poison attacks, making them debilitating to fight against. And then if you have any kind of physical resistance, they're going to ignore it, and also half your healing. Chimera are a problem. They're more offensively than defensively statted, so they are definitely more of a character and large target assassin. And they have a primarily armor-piercing weapon strength, which is always very good. It's a very high one at that, so that means you get to boost this immensely throughout the means your campaign. The higher this number is, the better those percentages do to boost that even higher. They also have a Flaming Breath ability, so now the Beastmen have a actual kind of dragon stand-in here with the Flaming Breath not doing, I don't think, as much damage as some of your Dragon Breaths. This does still do a heap against any of your kind of clumped up chaff units. It blends them away in a hurry, allowing the Chimera to get after more dangerous targets. Chimera also, if that wasn't enough, has immunity to flanking because it has so many heads, it can see everywhere. There's no way you're sneaking up on them. Immunity to flanking is scary on every unit it's on, even if it's on a lowly spearman. Not taking penalties when flanked is so good. The Regiment Around version here, which we have on the ground, changes ever so slightly in that it has the perfect predator trait here, So as long as it's on the ground and out of melee, it's actually going to have stalk and heal. So kind of an interesting flyer where you want to keep them on the ground for the majority of the battle if you want to sneak around, or if they're just needing to take a quick break from the fight to heal up. You drop them on the ground and you run away, and they will heal and get back in for a sneaky strike on someone's flank. Our next murderous friend is brought to us from the T'Challa the Denied One DLC. I wanted to call her T'Challa. Let me know in the comments what the true pronunciation for our 6-armed snake lady is. Either way, we get the Preyton from the Slaanesh DLC, which is another tier 4 flying unit, and it is a monster at that. So where your Chimera is more of an infantry and just a kind of an all-around duelist for characters or just single entities, the Preyton is specifically for hunting down large targets, and it does a very good job of it, in a kind of an interesting way too. So pretty decent health, medium-ish armor, decent leadership, good speed, actually very good speed, and then more offensively statted with poison attacks, so anyone it touches is going to be debilitated and slowed down. Very, very good for dueling. Mainly armor-piercing damage, and then a 20 bonus versus large for that dueling of the large monsters. They rule the skies. They may not perform. I'll have to get it in and test exactly how good they are and see who the true kind of single-entity Sky King is now, but they're going to do a very good job of it. In my battles, I first have them kind of secure aerial superiority, and then they can circle and find the largest target to take a chunk out of. We've got good charge bonus, which is going to be doubled if you're hitting someone in the flank due to devastating flankers, so up to 80 charge bonus. They have the all-consuming hatred passive, so the innate hatred carried within a Preyton makes it despise itself almost as much as its foes, whose attacks are repaid with added enmity. So as I was saying, that makes them a kind of an interesting duelist, where they are going to get in there. They've got very high melee attack. This drops their defense down to 4, so almost a guarantee to get hit. But at that point, they're reflecting that damage back on the opponent, so they want to get hit and they want to take damage, that way they can reflect it. It's very strange. They've also got a Frenzy, which grants them 10 more melee attack and a whole heap of damage bonuses as long as their leadership's higher than base. So this is actually 60 melee attack. They hit very hard, and when you hit them, you get hit back. It's like I said, it's strange, but it works. It's interesting. We'll show you all what I mean here in a little bit when we jump into a battle. Lastly, they have the Endless Malice passive, which is going to increase their damage and melee attack as long as there is an enemy unit routing or broken within 35 meters. This makes it so they have to be really, really close, so it feels like this is more of a ability for running down fleeing large targets, more than giving them a bonus if there's something around them, because at 35 meters means they have to be very close by, so it's going to be very short-lived passive. Of course, they have Devastating Flanker. They've got 20% physical resistance, 45% missile resistance, so shooting them is going to be not very effective. And then they cause terror, because of course they do. It's a humanoid, antlered monstrosity that hates you and hates itself, hates everything. The Regiment of Renown variant has the glowing green eyes, the Scourge of Arden, Stag's noble silhouette. Some Bretonnian folk believe can keep at bay even the evils of prowling the forest of Arden. Sometimes that silhouette presages something different. Yeah, I think the lore for these things is that they are great stags that have been corrupted by, I don't know if it's by Slaanesh or just by Chaos in general, so they used to be a great stag, and now they hate everything, because they remember what they once were, and it makes them quite angry. What makes this one different, yes indeed, what makes this one special is just the Strider trait, which means that speed and combat penalties are going to be ignored when you are fighting in terrain it does not like, just allowing it to fight in trees without hindrance, which I guess in and of itself is very, very good, because your large targets, it'll show us here. Game, come on now. Your large targets take, I think it's like a 40% to 60% hit to their melee attack and speed in the trees. So not having to deal with that and being able to kind of snipe down other large targets, or maybe heroes that might have thought they could hide, is very good. From here, though, let's go ahead and throw these units into a fight against some greenskins. Do we outpower them? Oh, for sure, but this is more of a demonstration than anything else. Let's do this. So firstly, let's just show the Chimera fighting against one of these wyverns and send in the Preyton to do the same. They've got 2 of them, so we kind of have no choice. And then we'll show you how good the Scourge of Arden is against the Arachnarok here. That'd be fun. Speed that up as they flap towards their foes. You know, the Beastmen getting new units in each one of these is incredible. Them actually, Creative is simply adding the units to other factions, even if it's made initially for a specific faction is incredible. So that they've now clashed. We're going to take this off so we can see the health bars. And that's even the Preyton without the melee reflection. Let's go ahead and kick that off so it's going to take more damage. Oh, the Wyvern just wants to leave. Ah, trying to double team. Very brave. Now the Preyton and the Chimera putting in work. Definitely more than capable of dealing with the likes of some Wyvern. Preyton's taken quite a bit of damage. How about the first Wyvern has decided that fighting is a little bit too much? He's gone. Having some uses, or at least some other sources of healing for your Preyton, definitely seems to be very necessary here. But once you've dealt with any of your large sky targets, you can just kind of circle and find something else to throw them into. So for now, they just go fight some more boys. Everything else, advance. Oh, you have to activate it. I guess I didn't read this all the way. So activated for 48 seconds, you get to be invisible and heal, so if you really need it in a hurry. Good for recovering after a fight then, so slightly different than I initially had thought. So the Slaangors, we will just give an attack order on whatever orc boys are in front of them here. We can even show off the flaming attacks. Scourge of Arden, you go jump the Ragnarok. In charge the Slaangors. Eager to feel some pain. And that initial clash goes. Orcs have a good bit of charge bonus, so that actually is going to power up our Slaangors even faster, and they start blending. Dual weapons. They do the job. Now let's show off the Fire Breath attack here. In the back of this unsuspecting group of clowns. Kills more of ours than theirs, but you can see how much damage that deals. I guess they're more like a Doom Bull than a dragon. Or a, one of the Bale Taurus. Preyton dueling with a Ragnarok, and it's about even. So while they may rule the skies, fighting against the likes of an Ragnarok may not be for them. But your good old Slaangors cut right through the orcs. And like I said, now the Beastmen pick up some pretty fun units here with this DLC, so jump in, give them a look. Let me know, though, what you all thought in the comments below. Which of these new units the Beastmen get is your favorite? Is the three-headed Chimera, the self-hating Preyton, or the, I guess, pain-adoring Slaangors? Honestly, the Slaangors put in so much work. I absolutely adore them. The Chimera's breath attack, though, being much better than kind of you normally get out of a breath attack for something that looks like this. Because your Bale Taurus initially, I just did not feel like the breath attack was very good. This one feels a lot better. Got some really cool animations, love it. Chimera, I think, is my absolute favorite. Again, though, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.